Hey everybody, we are waiting for a couple more people to join us. Let's give it about another minute or so. Something to think about before we move into this is if you have any specific questions, there's going to be an opportunity to ask your questions along the way. So this webinar is for you, not for me. I've done this before myself, so we'll get into it here in just about maybe 15-20 seconds. So think of some questions that you might like to know more about visiting a college, things to think about. I hope to explain a bunch of it right now, but all right, well, let's begin. Since you're here on time, we will begin, and someone can watch the recording later. Let's begin as we do with all things here at Christendom by the prayer. So in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Our Lady, Queen of Christendom, pray for us. Saint Dominic, pray for us. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. All right, so we're here to give a talk today about the 6 tips to get the most out of your college visit. I believe everyone that's listening or watching this has been here to visit. You came to the summer program, so thank you very much. So we're talking a little bit more about it. Some of you came to the summer program because it sounded like a fun time, maybe even the best week ever, hopefully. But you hopefully are looking at coming back and visiting during the fall. Obviously, we have a BWE scholarship for people who will come. If they come back and visit during a certain time during the fall, you get a bunch of money from us. So it's a good reason to come back and visit. But in the meantime, here's some things to think about. First of all, in case, well, let me see if we can. So for those who don't know me, maybe the parents are watching, my name is Tom McFadden. I've been here I've been here for 23 years, since 2000, but I've been involved in admissions since 2004. I've helped thousands of families discussions about Christendom, whether it's for them or not. And by the way, Christendom is not for everybody. So I'm not the guy that tells you you have to come to Christendom. Christendom is very unique. It has its own flavor, its own menu. And if you're into that, we'd love to tell you more. If you're not into it, we'd like to help you find a place that can meet your needs. I'm married with 11 children. My ages are from 31 down to 6. So I care very deeply about what happens to my kids. Most of my kids so far, well, I guess not most, half of them have come to Christendom so far. I still got a lot, still 7 living at home. And Cece, my oldest daughter, living at home. She was a summer program counselor this past summer, and she's going to be a senior this year. But I have a lot more parenting to go, a lot more decisions to make. There's no perfect way, but Christendom College has been very helpful to my family in helping them discern what they're going to do. I myself went to Christendom, one of 6 kids, and my parents sent all their kids to Christendom. And my parents say for the record that it was the best decision they ever made, because we're all still Catholic, we're all in good marriages, we're all successful. In fact, it was my mother, who today's the 4th anniversary of her death, ironically. She was the one that pushed for us to come to Christendom, and we're so thankful that we did, that we actually, all of us kids got together to buy a window in the new chapel of St. Dominic, because that's the day she died today. So there's going to be a window of St. Dominic in the Rosary in honor of my mother, who sort of pushed up against my engineering father, who was more about the practicalities of life, and said, hey, seek ye first the kingdom of God, everything else will come to you. So that's actually what's on my mother's gravestone, is that quote. Anyway, all that is great. We're moving forward. We're here to help you. We're not here to tell you. We're here to help you, answer your questions, give you some advice. So ask some questions along the way. So I'm going to give you 6 tips. People like the, 6 tips, 5 tips. It's easy to remember. We're going to go over a couple things. This isn't everything. We're trying to do it all in a short period of time. But basically, we're saying do your homework. That's all the prep you have to do before you ever go and visit a school. Come up with questions to ask while you're at the college that you're visiting. While you're at the college, make sure you look around some people and find out if they're your people, and then experience the liturgical life. Obviously, the liturgical life, it should not be something totally separate. It should be who you are, what you are, how you like to worship God, how you like to celebrate Mass. It should match with what your style is. And of course, we're allowed to have a lot of different styles. hang out with the kids, the students, figure out what do they talk about, what do they do, and then go to class, of course, because that's what the college life is all about. So we're going to go over these 6 topics here. I'm going to tell you some questions to think about, and we'll move forward from there. So again, along the way, if you have questions, ask them in the chat section. If for some reason we don't answer them along the way, someone will answer them. Ben Marsh, Associate Director of Admissions, is on this call, on this webinar, and he'll also be answering some questions along the way. So here we go. First one is do your homework. This is actually the most important part about the entire college search process. Some of the students who have been here and heard me talk during the summer, I've given a lot of reasons of why Christendom is a great place, but it might not be the greatest thing for you. And the reason, how do I say that? I say it because you need to figure out what's on your menu. What are you looking for? How do you want the college to affect you? And that's very important. So just because your friends went to this college or that college, or just because Mr. Phillips sends you a million emails, doesn't mean you should go here. You should say, am I in the mood for that thing? Is that going to help me be better? So first thing is figure out what you want in a college experience. It's very important. What do you want as the outcomes, both from a personal, spiritual, professional life, and create 3 lists, because whatever college you go to is going to affect you deeply in all of these areas. And as I've told people before, think about a restaurant. If you say, oh, I'm hungry, I'm driving on the road, there's a sign on the road that says there's fast food, there's a chicken place, there's a hot dog place, there's a pizza place, there's a Subway place, there's a burger place. They're all different. They all are similar in that they're fast food, but you have to say, well, what am I in the mood for? And then even if you say I want a chicken place, you still have choices amongst chicken places. And if you want a burger place, there's lots of choices of burger places. So think about the things that you want. What do you want to experience? What are you in the mood for when you go to college? So I think you should have 3 lists. I don't know how many people do this, but I recommend this to everybody I ever talk to. Make 3 lists and say, what must I have? When I say I want a good Catholic college, I want any Catholic college, I want a college education, what do you mean by that? What do you want? People sometimes say they want Catholic professors, they want the good spiritual offerings, they want good residential policies, they want to be financially affordable, they want lots of Catholic students, whatever. Make your list. Your list could be 30 things, it could be 2 things, but make it a list and say, this is what I want on my menu. This is what I want to dine on. They say you become what you eat. Well, you become what you learn, you become your experience when you go to college. So think about whatever. Does this college that you're about to visit, does it have the things that you want to do? I've had people come to me and say, oh yeah, I really love the good residential policies at some of these Newman Guide schools. I really want to go to a school that has a dress code required for class. So I'm only looking at Christendom, Benedictine College, and Franciscan University of Steubenville. And I look at the kid or the mother and say, well, that's great. I'm glad you figured out your top menu items, but do you realize that Christendom is the only one of those 3 that actually has a professional dress code for Mass? I don't care, take it any way you want it, but just as long as you know what it's about. And they said, oh, I didn't know, I thought they had it. I'm like, well, I don't know how important that is to you, but if in fact that's very important to you, then you have to cross those other 2 colleges off your list. So I don't know what's on your list. You need to create your list. In this, as a family, you sit down and just throw it out there, write things. Someone be just start writing things and say, how important is this to us? And then you can rank them if you want. Just say, well, I don't know if I can find any school that has everything I want. So rank them in order and say, well, they have to have these things. Then you say must not have, like, no way. I don't want to go to a place that has co-ed dorms, or I don't want to go to a place that constantly has anti-Catholic speakers, or puts up, congratulations to our pride people at our, like Notre Dame University did this summer, or has poor academic quality, or crazy party life, or liberal-leaning professors. I don't know. Do you want to pay for an education that teaches you these things? That's up to you. People do. People pay money to go to colleges that offer these things. So you have to, is this on your, what's on your must not have? And then the last thing is, maybe it would be nice if, well, it's not going to make or break my decision, but it would be nice if I had a sports program, or if it was closer to home than further home, or organic food, or free laptops, or rock climbing walls, or whatever. So whatever, this is just examples. Create your list. I don't think you can go anywhere else until you've created these lists and write it down, because every college has a website. Every college is trying to woo your business to some degree. Colleges today are losing students. Enrollments are dropping, and they're going to, you go to talk to a college person, they're like used car salesmen frequently. Hey, what am I going to take to get you into this car? What do I get you to come to this college? And they'll tell you anything. Thankfully, here at Christendom, we are not like that. We are open and honest. We tell people this is the way it is. This is what we offer. If you're not into it, we're not changing for you. We're not going to add a new major and tell you we have it. If we don't, we're just trying to offer the time-tested education that we've done for the past 45 years. So we are very open and honest about what we do, but I'm telling you, I know a lot of people in colleges, they're like slick salesmen. They're trying to get you in there and they're telling you whatever they want to tell you because they think that's what's going to get you to buy. You don't want it. So spend a lot of time. This is it. Spend all the time doing this. Once you figure that out, I mean, you can do some research. Like, well, how do I find these things out? How do I find what outlets on their menu? Well, websites are awesome. When I first started out in admissions, the internet was only around a couple of years. Everyone wanted to call you. We sent a lot of things by print mail. Now the website, you can watch videos and YouTube videos and follow people on social media. You can know everything about the college, and it's a good thing. And you can say, you know, I don't like the pictures they've been posting. I don't like the way people dress in it. I don't like the way how many nose rings they have, or I don't like the way, you know, what they focus on. And I don't like, I see the way they have this type of liturgy and it's not my type of thing. So you can learn a lot from just, like they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words. You can learn a lot from just looking at pictures. But you can talk to the admissions staff. We sit here 9 to 5, 5 days a week. People call us and ask us questions, write your list of questions you want. And so that you don't waste your time going and saying, well, I thought you guys had a dress code, and they show up and they don't have a dress code, and that was important to you. So call the admissions staff. They're happy to have the phone. They'll talk to you about it, ask them any questions you want. That's what we're in the business for. Learn the facts, the offerings, the opportunities prior to visiting. So I've had people come to Christendom and visit with us and say, yeah, I'm very interested in a business major. We're like, well, do you know we don't have a business major? And like, oh, I didn't really look at that. I didn't know that. You can still do business without a business major. And so we spent some time talking about that. But if there's a specific thing you want, the internet is just amazing. And it's, you know, you can look at it on your own time and ask questions and look it up. I highly recommend that, to do all this studying and research before you ever show up to campus. Now, in your case, you've already been to campus for the summer, but if you come during the school year, to come up with some real good questions. Don't waste time asking admissions people about scholarships or the cost or graduation or retention rates or rankings or majors. You can find all that online right now. Just go to the website, Google it, find it. You don't have to waste time talking to an admissions personnel asking that. You can find it out on your own. And so I'm going to give you some ideas of questions to ask so you get more out of the admissions people here in a minute. No need to meet with the academic department head or the athletic coach or the music teacher or the financial aid staff. You can simply call them or email them whenever you want prior to that. So remember, you're visiting a college. It's expensive to visit a college. It's a plane ride, or it's a travel ride, or it's maybe a hotel, maybe it's staying a couple of days, missing school. There's a lot of effort going into a visit. You want to make the most of your visit. And you want to make sure you're only doing the things you need to do that actually require you to be there. So like right now, we're doing a webinar. You don't need to visit to get this webinar. We provide the webinar free. You can find out all kinds of things without, and it costs you zero. So do this kind of thing with other schools that you're interested in. Find out if this college is offering what you want. So again, you match your list up, look on their website. If you can't find the answer, call the admissions people and say, hey, what's your deal? I was looking on your website. I couldn't figure out where this is or how this works or whatever. Can you please tell me? It's very, very important. We are here for you. So the internet maybe has all the information. Maybe it's missing some. Call the admissions people. So now, before you show up, you got to figure out some good questions. So think of some important questions to ask. Once you show up on campus, you're like, well, what am I doing there? I have met with thousands of people in my office over the years. And frequently the kid's sitting across from me and I'm like, so what questions do you have? And they just kind of look at you like, yeah, I don't have any. Now, I'm not faulting that kid, because ultimately I think the reason the student visits is they want to get a feel for the place. They want to know if these are their people, and that's a great reason to visit. Maybe they've done all the research and had all the questions answered, but it is good to show up. It's good in any kind of interview meeting situation to ask a couple of questions to show you you're alive and you're with it and you've thought about some things. So here are some questions. Here's what if you get a chance to meet with an admissions representative, these are the questions I highly recommend you ask, because these are actually going to be very difficult to find the answers to on the internet. You might have to read 14 articles to figure it out, but maybe you can get the admissions person whose job it is to tell you about the college to summarize it. Give it to me flat. Just give me the facts. So what makes your college different than others? You're obviously looking at other colleges. So what makes you different? Why are you special? Ask the important questions, like, what is your Big Mac? You know, thinking about fast food. There's only one restaurant in the world that sells a Big Mac. At least there's supposed to only be one restaurant that sells a Big Mac. It's the thing that you can't get anywhere else. Maybe you don't like the Big Mac. Maybe you want the Whopper. Maybe you want the square, fresh, never frozen burger at Wendy's, whatever. But you need to figure out, what is your Big Mac? What's the thing that your college, out of all the colleges I'm looking at, not even necessarily in comparison to those colleges, what is the thing that you offer that I can't get if I went anywhere else? That is very important to know. If the person you talk to doesn't know, I don't know. They should know. That's all I can say. We all know what it is if you ask us here at Christendom. Secondly, how does your college differ from this or that particular college? So maybe you're looking at Benedictine, Ave Maria, and Wyoming Catholic and Christendom. You can say to them, hey, I don't know, obviously we know you think Christendom is the best one out of all of them. That's what you work for. But do you know anything about Benedictine or Ave Maria or Wyoming and how they compare to Christendom in different ways, academically, spiritually, socially, morally, anything? Do you know anything about it? We in our admissions office know an awful lot about our competitors. It keeps us honest. We keep an eye on what they do. We like to know what they're doing. We try not to bash anybody. We just say, well, here's what they offer. Here's what we offer. Now you know. So that's what we try to do. What types of students succeed here? Again, this is going to be difficult to find on a website. So take your time and ask the admissions person, what type of students succeed? We have people frequently say to us like, hey, you don't have very many Catholic, very many non-Catholics. What's up with that? We're like, well, typically the Catholics are the ones that are in love with what we do because they understand what our Big Mac is, which is a Catholic immersion program. And they say, I want to go to that place. And now I'm going to succeed there because I understand what I want to do. And I understand you have to be someone of high intelligence. You have to be someone who's willing to work hard, someone who's striving for virtue. And that's what kind of succeed. If you just want to go and have a party, you just want to get a job, you want to slack off, you probably should go someplace else. So it's important to find out what is the sort of typical student and what are they looking for and how do they succeed? Here's a way you can get insider trading, maybe from the admissions director or representative. Are there things I can be doing right now during my senior year that would improve my chances of getting accepted or getting more scholarship or better financial aid? There may be some hints or tricks that someone can tell you. Mr. Phillips would be the first to tell you, yes, retake your SAT or CLT or whatever it is you take. Retake that a couple of times. My kids get a free education at Christendom. Don't hate me for that, but because I work here. And I always tell my kids, I'm like, you know what? You have to go through the suffering that all the other students are suffering through, which is keep taking the SAT and going under the trauma of saying, I need more money to go there. I need more money to go there. I don't want my kids being silver spoon thinking they deserve it. So I actually make them take the standardized test many times until they reach scholarship level. So even though they don't need it, I'm like, you need to go through the trauma of studying for it and worry about it, waiting for your scores. I think a couple of my kids just got their CLT scores back today. I haven't read it, so I'm excited for what they get. But the point is, they keep taking it many times to raise their standards. They're well past what they need to get into Christendom, but they keep taking it so they can get up to the level of academic scholarship, just to prove that they can do it, to hold their standards high and to be at the same level as you guys. So I highly recommend that. That might be something Mr. Phillips recommends. What's the moral climate like on campus regarding drinking, fornication, pornography, drug use? This is the stuff that's going to kill you if you go to a college. This is the stuff that's going to suck you into their world and be not what you want. But unfortunately, every college has it, even Christendom. Christendom has these things that goes on. It's not by any stretch of the imagination a part of our culture or anything we do, but human beings sin, and we have lots of human beings, but it's not the major focus of what we do, and nor is it even anywhere close to the major. So you should ask the admissioner, what's your take on the whole thing? And then lastly, for the admissions director, are the college's alumni still practicing the faith in good marriages or vocations? You want to know, they're the product. We are producing future alumni at Christendom College. Of course, they're human beings, they're souls made by God, they're all immortal. But the truth is, we need to be able to say, yes, our alumni, 96% or more of them are still practicing the faith as best we can count. We have about 4,000 alumni. Some have left the faith, some are on the edge someplace, but the vast majority of them are still practicing the faith in good marriages, very few divorces, lots and lots of kids. There's no guarantee of any of this stuff, but this is something that we're very proud of. So ask your college that you're looking at what the deal with that is. Now, if you're talking with the students, frequently an admissions office will hook you up with a student, maybe a student ambassador, maybe a tour guide. They are the product. They are, they're not the paid employees of the college as admissions office people are. So maybe ask them different questions than what you asked the admissions people. So maybe say, what other college did you look at before coming here? And why did you choose this one? To find out, yeah, I did the research. I looked at these 2 colleges, 4 colleges, whatever, based on this is why I chose Christendom versus someplace else. And do that at any other college. Ask them, like, why did you choose this college over other ones if you were looking at other ones? Was there anything that stood out? And is that thing that you went there for, is it still happening? Are you pleased with what it is? What do you do for fun on campus? Are there lots of groups or clubs to join? Look, when you go to a college, you spend about 20 hours a week in class, and then you have to spend a bunch of time doing homework and papers and studying and all that kind of stuff. But there's also, you're a human being, you should be having some fun. But what kind of fun is it? What is going on campus? Is there something that's going to meet your needs? Are there a million groups? Are there no groups? Is it groups that you might be interested in joining? Are there activities that you might want to do? Ask the questions to the ambassador or tour guide. What are some things you're not so happy about? You know, I'm telling you to do this, and I'm sometimes scared to like, what are our students going to say if you ask them this? But we have to be open and honest. So ask them, what do you aren't so happy about? Are there things that you thought would have been offered here, or they thought would happen but haven't happened? Like, are there any disappointments in your decision? Are you satisfied with what you'd have? Do you regret your decision at all? We do a survey every summer to ask our students, our current students, what they think about things. One of the questions we asked the freshmen that are rising sophomores that are coming back this year, we said, how many did we meet your expectations? 70% or more of them came to the summer program. They were all excited, just like you are. We said, okay, did the college actually live up to the expectations and the hype that you thought you'd get? 90% of them said yes. Wish it was 100, be honest, but 90% said yes. That's pretty good, in my opinion. I don't actually know what some sort of national standard is on that, but to have 90% say, yeah, we met the expectations, I think is pretty good. What's the moral climate on campus? Just like you asked the admissions people, hey, admissions people, what's going on in the drinking world, fornication, pornography, drugs, all that stuff? Ask the student. The student, they live in the dorms, they know what's going on, they hear the word on the street. I know for us, when we tell our student ambassadors or tour guides, we tell them to be totally open and honest with everything and anything that's ever asked. We're not trying to sugarcoat anything. Obviously, we're trying to give you put our best foot forward and show you, just like during the summer program. But we will talk about all the things that go on here and what happens. And if a parent ever has any interest and wants to know more about ins and outs of it, I love talking to parents about all this stuff. So we're here to help you make the right decision, so that at the end you say, yeah, I'm glad I invested all this money in this college, and I'm happy, and I would do it all again. Do you think that most students here are trying to grow in virtue? If you're trying to go to a Catholic college, if there's just a couple and they're a little group over here, a little pocket, and they're trying to do the right thing, but the majority of people are just whatever they're doing, something different, you should know that. You should find out, because you want to be in a place that's mostly doing that. The most people are doing the good, and that there's going to be positive peer pressure. And I know at Christendom, that's certainly, people will say that all the time. Yeah, we have some people that do bad things. We have people that don't get into daily mass, people that are running around the woods doing stuff at nighttime. It's far and few between compared to the majority of the people. I go to mass here every day with the kids. That place is almost full every single day, and it's amazing. And they're doing holy hours, and they're doing rosaries, and they care. They're living virtue. Yes, not everyone is, but most everyone is. People watch. So number 3 is people watch. People watch. It's actually a hobby of mine. I love going to airports and just kind of watching people and seeing what they do and trying to guess what they're going to do next. Maybe it's a little weird, but whatever. But they can tell you a lot about a place. So you go to a campus, there's all these people, they don't know who you are. You're assigned to one student to show you around, or 2 students, and there's gonna be all these other people. Some colleges have thousands of people. Here at Christendom, we have about 540 or so. So look around and say, are these my people? Take notice of how they react to you. Do they just walk by you with their head down? Do they say, hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Welcome to Christendom. Do they, when introduced by, when your friends, when your ambassador introduces you to their friends, do they take you in and act, charitably towards you, or they just say, hey, get out of here, I'm busy doing something else? So do these students look like your kind of people? I don't mean look meaning, it's just meant, do they feel like your people? Do they seem to be into what you're into? Do they sort of look as you do, or dress as you do, or do they look like people you'd find that walking around Manhattan instead? Maybe they're not your people. Maybe they look whatever. It's like you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but people judge books by their cover all the time. So just get a feel and say, do these look like my kind of people? Are these the people I want to be around when I go to college? Do they look happy, friendly, joyful? For whatever reason, every time people come to visit Christendom, they frequently tell us straight out, they use the term, they don't say friendly or happy, they say joyful. Your students are joyful. And some of these people have visited other Newman Guide schools, and I'm like, well, aren't they joyful there? I've visited some of those schools, and they seem kind of joyful to me too. And they say, no, there's just, it's like to each of them, they just have this inner joy that they're happy. They're not always looking at their phones as they walk around. They're not disgruntled. They don't look like they have a big chip on their shoulder. They look happy and joyful, and the joy comes out of them, which I'm like, wow, that's really good to hear. That's what we want to hear. But look around the campus. Do they seem to be interested and engaged in their studies, both in and outside of the class? So yeah, if they're in class, I've had people who have left Christendom because they were like, oh, Christendom's no good. I want to go someplace else. They thought the grass was greener at some other school. They go to some other New England school. They get transferred back the next semester. I'm like, what happened? I thought you were going to the greater pastures. They come back and like, oh my gosh, it was so horrible. The level of academicness in the classroom, the level of engagement, it was just so low. I didn't appreciate what I had when I was a Christian. I'm so glad to be back here. Outside of the class, they, just, it's a feeling you can get, because when you're spending a lot of money to go to college, you want to be affected in the proper way. So look around, see if it looks like people care, or if they're just sort of schlumping along and none of it matters. They seem to have the same interests and goals that you have. If you don't have the same interests and goals, one of the things people say at the BWE when they come is, I met people that seem quite similar to me. They have the same goals, they have the same life experiences. That's why they're interested in Christendom, because they want to come here and be around those people. So think about it. Ask your host visitor, the campus tour giver, find out what are you guys about? What are you into? Are they immersed in their phones or walk around with earphones all the time? That's what I see all the time when I go, not just on colleges, just anywhere. Just people are just in their own little worlds, doing their own thing. They don't want to talk to anybody, whether they're scared or they just couldn't be bothered. I'm not sure. Typically at Christendom, yes, lots and lots of people, almost everyone has a cell phone. They get into it, they listen to music, they do things on there. But at lunchtime, when they're walking around campus, when they're having conversation, they love conversation. And typically they're not immersed in that. Every once in a while, there's some kid, I walk by them. I know every student by name. I walk by these students and I go, hey, Joe, good morning. And they have their earbuds in. I kind of look at them like, hey, Joe, wake up. Hey, Mr. McFadden. Okay, great. So, but it's rare. Most of the time, people are alive and active. 4, check out the liturgical life. So liturgy is not something outside of you. It's something that is who you are, how you view God, how you like to hear God speak to you, how you can pray. I'll just be honest right now, I'm more of a traditional smells and bells type of worship guy. Maybe that's why I'm at Christendom. I don't think I could handle the more modern music or guitar music or tambourines. It's just not my thing. When I was a kid, we went to masses like that, and it was just never my thing. That the church allows all kinds of liturgical celebration, great, I'm all for it. But Christendom generally tends to be more traditional in its liturgies and traditional how it does what it does. So this is important because I can't hear God speaking to me through certain types of music. I can't hear God speaking to me through, when I play piano, and when I go to a church that's playing the piano, I want to get into it. I'm just listening to the piano. I'm not sort of listening to the spiritualness through, because I'm like, oh man, that guy's a really good piano player. I'd like to play piano like him. When I hear the organ played, I feel like I'm in heaven somehow. It's just beautiful. And of course, we have a beautiful organ here now. So whatever, figure out what kind of spirituality, liturgical life you need, because you should not just say, oh, I like everything about this school except the liturgical life, but I'll deal with it. Don't deal with it. This should be a number one thing you're looking at. Do you like traditional liturgies or more modern ones? That's up to you. Are there ample opportunities for communal prayer? Sacraments, Mass, Rosary, Confession, Divine Office, Adoration? Ask. What's your chapel schedule? What do you guys do? Does anyone go to these things? I've heard so many stories. It's actually hard to believe. I've heard so many stories of Catholics, our type of Catholics, people looking at Newman Guide schools who've gone to visit some more, let's call it secularized Catholic school, and they're on the tour, and they ask the tour guide, like, oh, what time are masses? And the first thing the person says, oh, well, you don't have to be Catholic to go here. You don't have to go to Mass. I mean, like, don't worry about it. Like it's a bad thing. It's like, no, I'm asking because I want to go. I want to know where it is. Sometimes even ask, where's the chapel? And the people are like, I don't know where it is. It's crazy. So find out what their take on this whole thing is. At Christendom, for example, we have 2 daily masses. We have over 2 hours of confession a day. And the lines are full. We have rosary every night. We have adoration every night. We have holy hour every night. Divine office is said by different groups. There's some at evening prayer at nighttime. We have the Chapel of Divine Mercy as the administration, the admissions and development advancement office come together. Dr. Donald joins us frequently, our president, every day at 3 o'clock in the Regina Caeli Hall. This is all very important stuff, that we're united in prayer, and it's important. It's not something anyone can pray on their own. I get it. You can go in and find Jesus and talk to him, but communal prayer is very important, especially at the age of college. Do many people take advantage of these offerings? Again, there's some colleges I've heard of that they have masses, they have stuff, but very few of the students actually do it. Again, at Christendom, we don't do a body count. But if I was guessing, it's going to be 50 or 60% of the students go to daily Mass. Then there's probably closer to 80% that maybe do a couple masses during the week. I would guess that 100% go to Mass on Sunday. But as far as sort of the daily mass thing, taking advantage, I think it's pretty good. How was the homily at mass or the music? Maybe you go and say, wow, that priest really inspired me. Or if it sounded just like fluffy stuff, maybe it's like, well, maybe Father Fluffy's gonna just keep doing that, and it's not gonna build you up. It's not gonna help you get deeper into your music. Or the music. Maybe there's no music. Maybe they're doing glory and praise, or maybe they're doing, traditional music. Again, does it matter to you? That's what you got to put on your list. Does the liturgical life spill over into the lived life to the students outside the chapel? So it's great going to chapel. You can only spend so much time in the chapel. What about how does the liturgical life and the faith life come out into everyday life? At Christendom, we have a little term here. We say at Christendom, you breathe Catholic air, meaning the Catholicism it's everywhere you look. You hear the bells ringing. You see the beautiful statuary, and on the walls there's beautiful paintings and liturgical and religious items. Classes begin with prayer. We have processions. We have dorm rosaries. We have all these things that doesn't just during the bee week people are saying the rosary on top of a mountain, doing on the car ride someplace. We're bringing it into more than just in the chapel, because the chapel's great. Chapel's in fact awesome, but you need to bring the faith into your life, and that's ask the people. Do people do this? Fifth one, hang out in the dorms. How do people use their free time? Again, you're going to be hanging out with these people. They're going to become your people. You're going to get your best friends in there. I had some of my best friends that I've had for we just had dinner. A couple of us had dinner together the other night, and they were my sophomore year roommates, and we've been at each other's weddings. Our kids have grown up together. You're going to get some of the greatest friends of all time. Wherever you go to college, you're generally going to get some of the greatest friends. You want to make sure they're your friends. They're true friends. They're the people you want to be around. So do you want to be like these people? Again, we talked about during the B-Week about the counselors that we picked. Do you want to be like them when you go to college, when you grow up? Obviously, I mentioned before, their parents were very involved in their life, becoming who they are, but Christendom added to it. So do you want to say, I would like to be like them when I grow up, when I'm in college, I'd like to act like them? What do they talk about in their leisure? Is everything just about the next Marvel movie or whatever, something secular? Are they just talking about that? Or is it they're having discussions about things that are important? Are they talking about the future? Are they wondering, the hopes and dreams? Maybe they're talking about some of their struggles they have. That's true friendship, not just the surface friendship that you can get on, Yahoo News or something. Is everyone plugged in all the time? What kind of media? Are they constantly like, hey, yeah, bye, dinner's over, I finished studying, wrote my paper, I'm just going to sit down on my laptop and watch a movie? I'll be honest, it's today's world. It's very easy to just sit down and watch a movie on your laptop. People do it here frequently. They do it with friends. They sit around in a dorm room, maybe watch some movie together and make it a social event rather than just a me event. But what kind of media? Do they have any standards what they're listening to or what they're watching? It's important to find out, because again, you're going to be immersed in this world. Does good conversation take place? Again, whatever your definition of good is, but is it happening? Are guys and girls going to each other's dorms? This is something. I keep mentioning the Newman Guide schools. Newman Guide schools there's 15 schools in America that have been deemed to be good, so-called good Catholic schools by the Newman Society. Out of those 15, there's only 5 of them that don't allow intervisitation. All the rest, the other 10, allow intervisitation of guys going to girls' dorms and girls going to guys' dorms. Is that something you care about? Is it something you want? Do students stay up all night? Do they go to sleep at reasonable time? I'll be honest, even if you went to bed at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock when you're in high school, whatever happens, something magical happens in college where, all of a sudden 2 a.m. becomes your 10 p.m. and you're writing another paper, you're staying up, you got immersed in some conversation, and then you're waking up again at 8 o'clock in the morning and doing it all again. But there are people that, it's like, do they stay up or do they party all night? Do they sleep at a reasonable time? These are things when you're there to look around and acknowledge this. How about the noise level in the dorms? You're going to have some people that are just noisy. Some people like to listen to music loud. Does the dormitory have quiet hours? Christendom has quiet hours. I think it's from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Are they clean? Are the people generally clean? Do they keep their dorms clean, or is it just a pigsty? Both for men and for women. Do the students respect each other's privacy? Everything from, are they just going and taking your stuff? That happens in today's very world, or when people just say, oh, that's what's yours is mine. It's like, not always. Can you leave things unlocked, and can you leave your laptops around and they're not stolen? That's important to ask some of these questions about it. And then finally, the last part of it is to sit in on classes. I mean, I put it last, it's not the last thing, but it's one of the more important things to know about, because this is what's going to affect your brain, affect your experiences. It's not just what you learn, but who you learn it from. So did it seem like students were into the classes? Or they just like, oh, I'm punching my ticket, I'm in this stupid class, I'm just going to sit here, can't wait for the thing to be over, with their heads on the desk? Were they sort of looking on their phones? Were they into their computers and playing video games? This happens at colleges. People do this all the time. Or did it seem like students were actually invested in their class? It looked like the teacher knew who they were talking to them. The teachers were passionate and enthusiastic about their class. Hopefully you experienced that during the summer program. But this is important, because you can just go to a big school that has 300 people in a classroom. One of my brothers is an engineer. He went to George Mason University, a public university, with like 30,000 people in it. In some of his classes, in some of his intro classes, had hundreds of people in it, and you're just some number, like a little ant on a log somewhere far away. And it's tough to say whether you got into the class or not. You had to make a special effort to get into the class because you were so far away from the action. Were the class sizes too big or too small or just right? Was there time to ask questions or discuss topics in class? Or was it the principal or the teacher just talking, and at some point it's just like, well, move on, class is over, we don't care anymore, we're going to move on to the next subject tomorrow? Or did the teacher say, does anybody have questions about this? Is there something else I can help you learn deeper about this topic? Is the professor a graduate student called a teacher's assistant? You might not know what that is, but typically at larger universities have an education as a program by which they bring in graduate students. Graduate students are people who went to college and now they're going to second college. And those graduate students are trying to become a teacher, a college teacher. So as training wheels, they say you're going to teach students at the undergraduate level while you're becoming a full-fledged teacher. So is that important to you? Or do you want to make sure you always have a real full-fledged teacher that's fully knowledgeable, or do you want one that's in training? At Christendom, we don't have any graduate students teaching as teachers' assistants. They are the full professor of the classroom. Did the subject matter interest you and seem challenging? That's important to you. Some people have talked to it and said, well, you know what, when it came to the summer program, yeah, it wasn't, it wasn't as challenging as what I learned in my junior, English class last year. Remember, the summer program it's a 1 week in and out sort of, experience that there's no papers, there's no tests, there's no studying necessary. It's meant to be sort of light. It's meant to give you an insight into what it is. And some people say, yeah, but I need to go to school, it's more challenging. I'm telling you, we have top students with top grades, with top test scores, people who are National Merit Scholarship finalists, people who they're all challenged in what they are. There's no one that's running around saying, oh my gosh, this is so boring, I can't take it, I need something that's more challenging. They're all challenged in what it is. So you can make it more challenging for yourself. There's some people that take more classes than others. Some people audit classes. There's some people that do advanced studies program where they can do special projects with faculty. So there's always a way to make it more challenging if you want to. But most students are like, yeah, it's challenging enough. I'm okay with the regular script, so to speak. Are the people known by name by the professor? You cannot know how important this is, to be known by name by anybody that works at a school, at a college. If you're just another person and they don't know who you are, what you are, here at Christendom, we have a prayer group that goes around. Father Marcus Pollard, our chaplain, when someone's grandmother dies or someone needs help, they can send an email to Father Pollard. Father Pollard sends out to the entire faculty and staff. And I'll tell you, when I get that, when I see someone's mother died or someone's sick, when I go to mass that day, I pray for that person. That's part of the communion of saints. It's an amazing thing. In class, I teach every student at Christendom every year, and I know every student by name. It's kind of cool to have a vice president of the college known to you and then known to back to you. And professors, gosh, their class sizes are normally like 22 people per class. Sometimes the classes are 2 people in the class. You're going to be known. You can't hide behind somebody else. You're going to be known as a human being, which is just very good. It makes it more personal education. And then this is important. If you're going to pay for a Catholic education, you should get a Catholic education. Is Catholicism integrated into the subject matter? Or is it just, well, we teach this stuff over here, and then we do our Catholic thing when we go to church. That's our Catholic thing. At Christendom, like I said, we integrate the Catholic life. It's like a Catholic immersion program in all that we do. So Catholicism is definitely integrated into the subject matter. It's not just a thing we do when we're talking about theology or just talking about philosophy. We try to bring the Catholic faith in to bear on everything that we do. And one of the main ways we do is by hiring 100% faithful Catholic professors, all of whom make an oath of fidelity to the magisterium of the Roman Catholic Church each year, saying, To the best of my knowledge, I'm not going to teach any heresy. I'm going to teach the truth. I'm not going to lead anyone astray. And that is something that's very, very rare in today's society, even amongst many of the Newman Guide schools. Some of the Newman Guide schools just have their theology professors say that. Well, we think the political science professor should say it. We think the English professor should say it, because Catholicism is not something stuck in theology or philosophy. It's Catholicism is who you are, what you are. And the reason you're paying for a Catholic education is to know why it matters to you as a Catholic. And the classes begin or end with a prayer, or was there a crucifix in the class? This is, for us, it's like, why did I even add that? It's such a constant thing. We begin everything with a prayer and end everything with a prayer. But a lot of colleges, again, they're not. They're worried about what this, some of these Catholic colleges only have 49% Catholic student body. They're worried about offending somebody else. Look into it, ask the questions, find out if this is important to you. So conclusion, look, it's very important to visit the campus. Obviously, you came to visit the campus during the summer, and that's great. And but it's good to come back and say, well, there's more than 10 students, more than 10 counselors, there's other people. I get to see the lived life of the college. You need to get a feel for the campus. This is what everyone tells me. Everyone that comes to visit, just like you came to the summer program, you have a new understanding of the summer program now than before. So you need to experience the campus life to make a decision to see if you feel at home there. Will you be there for 4 years? I mean, you'll be there. If you go to a college, you like the college, you'll be there for 4 years. You need to know if this is home. Obviously, we offer summer programs. We offer day and overnight visits, which we highly encourage you to come back and visit for. But we also have open house events. You can visit multiple times. We have the Padre Pio Scholarship Competition coming up in April, I think. We come to visit, bring your parents. Your parents need to, you've experienced it. Sometimes you're talking about stuff and they're like, shut up, stop talking so much about the college. And you say, but come to the college, see what I experienced. And when parents come, like, oh, now I see why my kid's all stoked on this whole thing. Many colleges assist you with your travel arrangements, pick you up at the airport, take care of your dietary needs, feed you, and most of it's free. So, look into it, visit whatever college you're interested in. People make decisions based on it. They go to some college, like, yeah, I hope to never go to that college after what I experienced. Or other people, and we've lost people too, based on some bad experience or, some random thing that happened. And there's no perfect thing. It's always a bit of a risk, but we want people to see the true Christendom, and most colleges want you to see the true experience of the college. Overnight visits are highly recommended. So you can go for a day visit, show up at 10, do a campus tour, go to mass, go to lunch, and get out of here. You want to know what goes on at nighttime. They always say nothing good happens after midnight. Well, you want to see if that's true of Christendom. You want to know how the dorm life is. You're going to spend a lot of time in your dorm. You want to know if just what the people are doing. So I highly recommend, if you can ever stay the night wherever college you go to, because once the faculty and staff leave and you're just with the students and the resident directors and the people who are in charge of student life, it's just important to see what kind of stuff goes on. I cannot say that enough. And then come up with some follow-up questions to ask on your way home, when you're after you left, you have to say, well, what did I want to know about? Maybe talk about your parents when you get home and say, what are some things I didn't ask? What are some things that maybe I want to know more about now that I visited this college? Or you can call up another college and say, I was visiting this other college and they had these cool things. Do you guys have these cool things? Or they're really, I like them. What do you guys have them? So look, and when you get home from your visit, this is one way. I told the summer program students that there's an easy way to know whether or not you want to go to Christendom or not. And that's if you want to get involved in the fight for the culture and the life and heart and mind of the souls of the future of the world. If you want to help save the world, come to Christendom. If you just want to scroll along and just get a job, go someplace else. Well, here's the way you know if your visit, whether it works out or not. When you get home from your visit, after you talk about your college visit to your parents or siblings, ask them this: was I smiling when I was talking about my visit? Did I look happy when I was recounting my experiences? If the answer is no, if it's like, yeah, this happened and that happened and whatever, then you probably should not come here, because we are like a family and you have to sort of fall in love with us a little bit. You're not just going and getting a degree. A couple of my siblings were commuter students at large universities. After they transferred, they came to Christendom first, then they transferred out. They don't have any feelings one way or the other towards their large university, but they do have feelings towards their time at Christendom. So maybe you should have that too. So if you're not happy, if you're not excited, if you're like, yeah, whatever, meh, it was okay, maybe Christendom is not for you. Now, it's not all about feelings. I get it. It's about reality, but you should have a good feeling about the college. You should be excited and like, oh my gosh, that was so amazing. I love doing it. So here's two last little slides. Why do, in case you're wondering, why do people choose Christendom? Well, every year we survey the parents of incoming students, and the incoming students themselves. So we do 2 surveys, ask mostly the same questions. And this year, the class of 2027 coming in, we asked them, and the students, the number one reason the students chose Christendom. We gave them a bunch of things: authentic Catholic culture, rigorous liberal arts education, financially more affordable, reputation, we just beauty of campus, whatever. So the students, this is what they asked for. They 68% said, "Oh man, the reason I'm giving up all this money and dedicating myself to going to Christendom is I love the authentic Catholic culture." 14% said, "You know what? The number one thing was exciting to me. I think the rigorous liberal arts education is going to make me a well-rounded person, and it's going to, make my mind on fire, and I love it." 6% financially more affordable. 2% parents made you. I say congratulations to those 2%. I think that's 3 kids. 3 kids, the parents made them come. And I say congratulations. Those kids should go back and at the end of their 4 years and kiss their mama and father and say, thank you. It was the best decision we ever made together. So that's what the students said. Now, what are the parents? The parents, they're frequently the ones funding this operation. The parents, well, 77% of them say the authentic Catholic culture. I mean, that's huge. They say, well, I want my kids to be brought up and raised and formed in authentic Catholic culture. 80% said, you know what, my number one problem, I want to make sure my kids turn out okay. So I want to make sure they have good vocations, good careers, staying Catholic. That's what we call alumni outcomes. But that's well below the 77%. I mean, it's 77% just blows it out of the water. 6% said the rigorous liberal arts education, and 6% also said the vibrant Catholic community. Some say, what's the difference between vibrant Catholic community, authentic Catholic culture? We don't define it. We let the people choose. But this is a huge reason. So if you're looking at this here today, and you're looking at this whole thing, and you're like, well, yeah, those are important things to me too. Well, then this is a reason to come back and visit Christendom. This is a reason to continue looking at the college and see what it is. So that was my presentation. We did it in about 45 minutes. It's a little better than normal. I'm here to answer questions if you have any about anything. We can, if you don't have any, I give out my cell phone number to anybody, and you can text me. You want to text me at midnight, I'm not going to answer, I'll be asleep. But if it's between 8 a.m. and 10 p.m., generally I'll respond to you any day of the week. Always tell me who you are before you start going off with all your questions. But you can call me and tell every student and every parent that's involved with Christendom has my personal cell phone number. And so it's kind of a nice thing. It's like, well, if I have a lot of problems or questions, I at least know who I can reach. There's plenty of other people that you can reach by email and by phone, but the cell phone is important to me to be able to reach that. So when I make a visit, someone asked, when I make a visit in the fall, can I sit on a certain class that I'm interested in? If so, how do I request that? Well, Basha Siski, who many of you remember from the summer program, she was the one organizing it. She's the visit program coordinator. And so we do our very best to try to get you into a class that's actually the thing that you like. So if you're interested in a French class or science class or whatever, we try our best. But I will also be honest with you and say that we have limited time slots and there's limited seating in the classrooms. We ask the professors at the beginning of the year saying, okay, which classes have areas that extra seats in them, which classes are at this time period, because we have certain times when students go to class. We don't just have them go to any class anytime. So what we do our best to say, is there a specific class you want to go to? We also try to hook you up with the ambassador, the student, to lead you around that's possibly in that class too. So typically you go to the classes that the student ambassador who's showing you around that you're staying with go to. And so when you do your visit request and you say, I'm actually interested in a class on this topic or this area, Basha will do her very best to try to find you an ambassador, a student who is in that class at the time that you can go to class. It's not guaranteed, but we try our best to do that. So that would be requested during the visit request situation. And the same thing too, if there's a certain sport, you're like, oh, I'm into basketball, I'm into soccer, I'm into softball, rugby, we try our best to hook you up with a student who is involved in that topic as well. Or you want someone to say, maybe I like philosophy, I was thinking about majoring it. So you pick that. So yeah, basically you should reach out to Ms. Siski and request the class you'd like to sit in. And I think that's one of the questions that's asked on the visit request form. Again, we try to ask you a couple of things about yourself to find out, we want to hook you up. We have lots of different students. They're not all cookie cutters or other people. So we want to make sure you have, we hook you up with a person who has your same interests generally, personality. So we ask a couple of questions, and we have I think we have like 70 students that who are volunteer ambassadors to show people around. Other questions? Man, I must have done really well. I'll tell you all the things you didn't want to know about. Well, if you don't have questions, that's fine. There's plenty more time. Like I said, you can email anytime. You can email anybody in the admissions office. You can just email admissions@christendom.edu. You can call us, text us, whatever you want. But the biggest thing is you should think about visiting whatever school is on your short list, visit it. You don't want to go broke, so you don't want to visit 12 schools. So pick some schools based on your list of haves and have-nots and what ifs, maybes, and then limit it down to that. And if you want insight, if you're like, okay, Mr. McFadden or Mr. Phillips or whoever, if you come down and you say, I have my list of things I want, can you recommend which schools will meet the things I want to? I'm telling you, we'll tell you the truth. We'll tell you the ones that will meet your needs more so than if you say something. And if we're not on that list, we're not on that list. That's okay. So we want to be open and honest with you about whatever, and we want to make sure that the right people come to Christendom in the fall, because we have a waiting list this year where there's about 20 or 30 kids that didn't make it in this year, and we want to make sure that only the kids that that really want to come here, because we're not growing. We're basically staying the same, around 545 students for the next, well, forever, about 545 to 550. So we're not trying to grow. We're getting more competitive each year. You guys, the Best Week Ever students, are sort of our top students. You were here for a week. We got to know you. We got to know you by name. We liked having you here. You eat ice cream every day. We know you enjoy it. So as a result, we want you to come back. We want you to have first dibs on the openings that are there. So if that's all we have, no more questions, we will close this down and end with the glory be. And again, if we can ever be of any assistance to you in the future, just let us know. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. God bless.